I was wondering if you would just give us like a kind of short rundown of the different areas of Tokyo, like, and the kind of key music venues. You live in Koenji, which I believe is like quite a thriving area of the kind of underground music scene in Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult question to answer. People always ask me about like what are the key venues, and it's kind of impossible to answer that because the venues themselves don't usually have their own particular community around them. Some of them do. There's a few who do, but I mean, like if you look at the website Tokyo Gig Guide, they have a directory of venues in the Tokyo area, and there's like they've got about 800 venues listed.
Mm.
Not just Tokyo, some of the nearby sort of places as well, but definitely the greater Tokyo area. There's like 800 venues there, and the scene is so fragmented. There's no like this is the place kind of thing going on.
Mm.
And it's, I think in some ways it's sort of dishonest to try and sort of pick one out, but and the gigs just they happen where the organizers want them to, and they'll often move around depending on the show, depending on, you know, organizers chasing cheaper venues and things and stuff. But even like areas of Tokyo that used to 20 years ago, 25 years ago, had their own sort of distinct music identity. That's now that the information is all just kind of spread around on the internet, I think that's kind of become much more homogenized as well. But yeah, Koenji, good area generally. It's got its own sort of local kind of creative communities and sort of networks there. It's this like anarchist recycle shop here called Shirouto no Ran. They sort of connected with this guest house called Manuke Guest House, and so that place acts as a sort of funnel for a lot of weird people from overseas who kind of come here to stay there, and especially with people from like other parts of Asia. So like I think Koenji's become one of the interesting things I think about Koenji is that it's a sort of spot where weirdos from Taiwan or from wherever kind of often land when they first visit, when they first come to Tokyo.
Okay.
In like Shimokitazawa is another area that's sort of famous for sort of indie music. That's a bit more sort of straightforward indie rock there. And then there's like, you know, Shinjuku, Shibuya, loads of venues in those places. So there's certain areas over the western side of the city is where most of the venues are clustered, and then like along the Chuo line, sort of train line that runs through Koenji, dotted along there, pretty much every station along the Chuo line has sort of some kind of cool venues or interesting things going on. Over the other side of town, it's a bit more sparse, but like in Koiwa, there's a venue called Bushbash, which is excellent, like probably the best venue in Tokyo, really.
Bushbash.
Sort of out on its own on the other side of town. Punk and hardcore, but like loads of sort of weird experimental stuff, and they're doing there's a lot of people doing events there that I think are really interesting at the moment, throwing together this like really anarchic kind of punk spirited electronic music and noise and things together with like grindcore and sort of punk and various other kinds of music, and that's kind of interesting.